So in part 2 of our series with our good friend here, Scott Holsopple from Hightower, we're going to follow up the who is Hightower with the why we chose Hightower. So I know in last week's video, you talked a lot with Jake around culture, the importance of culture at Hightower. That was obviously in terms of how you facilitate growth within corporate organization, but also the partners and peer groups, something that we recognize, because I think everybody talks about culture. Not a lot of people actually have formal things in process.
It takes a lot of work.
I think one of the important things that I would put under a broader definition of culture is really, in some ways, what you're not trying to change in our groups. I think one of the concerns or questions we got is like, yeah, well, we love 10 Capital, and what's going to change? And of course, encourage people, change is good too, it can be growth, but Hightower, as we went through and looked at everyone, really stood out as having a very unique approach to the business that wasn't patronizing or patriarchal, but really coming in to be supportive, additive, and learn as much about us as before then seeking out to find out where you can fill gaps. Explain to me, where does that perspective come from, and how would you explain Hightower's approach to how they look at their partner firms?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to why we were founded and what we wanted to recognize when we were founded 15 years ago. And it's balancing two things. It's the benefits of having a scaled platform, so having national reach, but then the uniqueness of a local experience. Mm-hmm. And that goes to brand. If you go to the Hightower website, sure, you'll see some firms that are Hightower branded, but you'll see probably more firms that aren't. And that's because we think there's a benefit to scaling things that are critical for the business, financial environment, technology environment. When you think about cybersecurity, having a 100-person tech team is way different than what an individual RIA will.
I'm excited about it.
It's just one less thing for you to have to think about, right?
Totally.
And so we think there are real benefits there. We think there are also places that we can invest to impact the client experience in a positive way that maybe an individual RIA wouldn't be able to, or just wouldn't think about. Mm-hmm. But we think there's this real power of the entrepreneurial experience that you get. And so I think it's balancing those two, where things like client experience, how you invest their money, how you develop your people, how you pay your people. It all remains the local, the local business.
We kind of talked about the 4 big stools that don't change. Your advisor stays the same. Yeah. Our rights to portfolios, fees, those things that at least at a baseline, people are like, this is ever going to evolve. We would want it to be under your direction, not some mandate that's coming down from someone we've never met.
No, that's right. And oftentimes clients are like, well, you're still going to be there. It's like, yeah. Is the brand going to change? No. You're still going to determine how you invest my money. Yeah. Right? But you'll get more as a result of being part of a larger organization, and it's all at your discretion. Mm-hmm. So, I mentioned in a national trust company, you can choose whether that's right for your clients or not. Right?
Yeah, I think that was one of the big things we talked about, even, you guys coming in and becoming obviously a financial partner, but within that, and one of the big reasons for that is to be able to keep those conflicts of interests apart, where again, we're not going to be mandated to use anything on behalf of a client. You just want to see us succeed, the clients succeed, sure. and that growth accrues to everyone's benefit. I've been so impressed, as I alluded to earlier, with how people, before they come in with any idea, they really have taken the time to invest to learn who we are. I was on a call just today with Liz within your marketing team. Far from wanting to change or adapt, they were like, oh, we're so excited you're doing and about so many of the things we're there. Is that something you just look for in the people, or are there certain ethics, ethos within Hightower that people explain, like, hey, this is how we approach our partner firms? How do you cultivate that?
I think it goes back to culture, right? And I think it goes back to, a culture exists within a business. You either let that culture create itself, or you look and aspire to create the culture yourselves. Mm-hmm. So it impacts everything we do.
As we should and would need to as a fiduciary, even to our clients, let alone the business, vetted everything. But it was interesting. Obviously, there were the people want to take over everything. You're going to do it their way. And then there were the other people where it was almost like, I'm not sure really what you're bringing to the table. It's so loose. And again, we wanted to find that right partner. Well, we appreciate, looking forward, excited about the partnership. I know as we've explained it to our clients, they're excited about it. In fact, I've had a lot of other ancillary businesses like, is there a Hightower for what I do? Because I want to give up a lot of that stuff too. So maybe a future business idea. But thank you again all for your support, the time, the attention. Hopefully, as we unpack over this 4-part piece with Scott, and I'm sure in the future bring other people, you'll see why we're so excited about the people we get to call partners.